Hello students, welcome to this session. In this video, we discuss how to find the series solution of a Bessel's differential equation and an associated part, how to reduce the differential equations which are not in the standard Bessel's form to a standard Bessel's equation. First, let us know what is Bessel's differential equation. The differential equation of the type x square into d square over dx square plus x into dy by dx plus x square minus n square into y equals to 0, where n is a non-negative real constant, which is also referred as parameter, is called Bessel's differential equation. Now let us concentrate on how to find the series solution of a Bessel's differential equation. Now, let us consider the Bessel's differential equation, which is given by x square into d square by dx square plus x into dy by dx plus x square minus n square into y equals to 0. Let us refer it as equation 1. As we know that the series solution of any differential equation differ based on the value of p naught x, where p naught x in general is referred as the coefficient of highest derivative. In this case, the highest derivative is d square by dx square and its coefficient is x square. That's why here we take p naught x equal to x square and its value is 0 at x equal to 0. Means here x equal to 0 is a singular point. That's why we have to follow case 2 as we discussed in the previous video, and here we have to find the series solution of Bessel's differential equation. We have to apply Frobenius method, and according to the first step of Frobenius method, we have to assume y equal to summation r varies from 0 to infinity ar into x raised to k plus r. Let us take it as equation 2 as the series solution of the given the Bessel's differential equation, where a naught is not equals to 0. Now that is the first step, that we have assumed this one as the solution of Bessel's differential equation according to Frobenius method or generalized power series method. And once we look at the requirement of equation 1, it requires y, it is already given according to the assumption. Then you have to find dy by dx and d square by dx square. Once you find dy by dx for this one, that is summation ar as it is. Now derivative of x raised to k plus r is k plus r into x raised to k plus r minus 1. And the second derivative is the derivative of the first derivative is called as second derivative. Already we got the first derivative like this. Let us keep the constants as it is, that is summation r varies from 0 to infinity ar into k plus r as it is. The derivative of this one is, that is k plus r minus 1 into x raised to k plus r minus 2. Now we got the values of dy by dx as well as d square by dx square. Now, according to the third step of Frobenius method, we have to substitute the values of y, dy by dx and d square by dx square in equation 1. Once you substitute here, that is x square, we have written x square here, the d square by dx square value that is here, we have substituted, plus x is here, then the value of dy by dx that we have substituted here, plus x square minus n square as it is, the value of y which is given based on the assumption, that is y equal to summation r varies from 0 to infinity ar into x raised to k plus r, and RHS is 0. Now let us bring this one to the somewhat simplest form by combining the similar terms. Once you look at these two, the base is same, you have to add the powers. Once you add the powers of these two, this becomes x raised to k plus r. Here also it is base is same. Once you add the powers, it becomes x raised to k plus r. And we may find one more after multiplication of this n square. With this one, we are going to get this x raised to k plus r here. And among the first term, second term, and the after multiplying, it will be resulting in fourth term. Combining second, first, second, and fourth term, we can write by taking ar x raised to k plus r as common. We get summation as it is. Then we have taken ar and x raised to k plus r as our common term. Here we left, that is k plus r into k plus r minus 1 we left, and in the second term we left with k plus r. from the fourth term we left that is minus n square. And at this term, after multiplying x square with x raised to k plus r, we get it as summation ar into x raised to k plus r plus 2 we get, and RHS remains same. And if you consider the first two terms in this square bracket, and in these two terms, I can take k plus r as my common term. Then we left k plus r minus 1 plus 1. And plus 1 minus 1 will get cancelled. So we find k plus r into k plus r. That results in k plus r whole square minus n square as it is into ar into x raised to k plus r plus this one as it is, that is summation r varies from 0 to infinity ar into x raised to k plus r plus 2, and that one equals to 0. Now let us take it as equation 3. Now the fourth step of Frobenius method or a generalized Power series method says we have to equate the coefficient of lowest power of x. Once you look at equation 3, the lowest power of x is obtained by taking the value r equal to 0. If you take r equal to 0 in the first term, here we get x raised to k. If you take r equal to 0, here you will get x raised to k plus 2. The lowest of that one is x raised to k. Now equating the coefficient of lowest power of x, that is x raised to k, which is obtained by taking r equal to 0 in the first term of equation 3. Only treat the coefficients and take r equal to 0. If you take r equal to 0 here, you will get k square, and this is minus n square. If you take r equal to 0, we are going to get a naught. But in this second term, we are not going to get x raised to k. Let us leave that one. Once you, as already in the statement itself, we know that a naught is not equals to 0. That's here we have written already. That's why when E naught is not equal to 0, this implies k square minus n square equals to 0. And as in the theory part, when we are discussing that generalized Power series method, we have said that by equating the coefficient of lowest power of x to 0, we are going to get a quadratic equation in k, which is called indicial equation. Here, by equating the coefficient of lowest power of x, that is x raised to k here, we are going to get one quadratic equation as k square minus n square, and that is called indicial equation. And here, once you solve for k, it will give, that is k square equal to n square and k equal to plus or minus n. These are k1 equal to n, k2 equal to minus n. These are the roots of indicial equation we can take. The first, we have equated the coefficient of lowest power of x. Now we have to equate the coefficient of other powers of x to 0. After x raised to k, the next power of x is x raised to k plus 1. That is now equating the coefficient of x raised to k plus 1 to 0. Now once you look at these two terms, that is in equation 3, we can get x raised to k plus 1 only from the first term, because if you take r equal to 1 here, it will give k x raised to k plus 3 it will give. Therefore k plus 1 is obtained only with the first term of equation 3. Now concentrate on first term of equation 3 and taking the coefficient by taking kr equals to 1. That is, which is obtained by taking r equal to 1 in the first term of equation 3. Now concentrate on the coefficients and taking r equal to 1, we get k plus 1 whole square minus n square into a1. That is k plus 1 whole square minus n square into a1 equals to 0. Now, which one is going to be 0? Whether a1 equals to 0 or k plus 1 whole square minus n square equal to 0. Because whenever we find the situation a into b equal to 0, either a equal to 0 or b equal to 0. Now here it's very difficult to decide which one is going to be 0. Either this part is going to be 0 or this part is going to be 0. Now let us see if what happens. If first one is going to be 0. If k plus 1 whole square minus n square equal to 0, then this implies k plus 1 whole square equal to, taking this one outside, that gives you n square. If you take a root on both sides, that is k plus 1 equals to plus or minus n. This implies k equal to plus or minus n. If you take this one outside, that becomes minus 1. This is not acceptable because already we know that the value of k is plus or minus n. That's why if you take this one as 0, it will give some absurd result like this. That's why in this case, this will not be equals to 0. Therefore, in order to get the right hand side as 0, this part must be equals to 0. That's why we conclude a1 equals to 0. That is, when we equate the coefficient of x raised to k plus 1 to 0, we find that a1 equals to 0. Now, in general, now let us equate the coefficient of x raised to k plus r, where r is greater than or equal to 0. Now, how we get the coefficient of x raised to k plus r? Now, again, we have to refer equation 3. Already we have here k x raised to k plus r, and its coefficient is, that is, uh, here it is coefficient is k plus r whole square minus n square into ar. That is k plus r whole square minus n square into ar plus. Okay, in order to get k plus r should realize the value r minus 2. When r become r minus 2, then what happens? 2 will get cancelled, so we get x raised to k plus r. That's why wherever r is there, if you take r minus 2 to get the coefficient of x raised to k plus r, we get from the second term of equation 3 as ar minus 2, and it has to be equated to 0. That's why here we have said, in general, equating the coefficient of x raised to k plus r, where r is greater than or equal to 0, we get. And here we have clearly written that, which is obtained by taking r equal to r in the first term. That is, here we have to take r equal to r in the first term and r equal to r minus 2. Okay, here r equal to r minus 2 in the second term of equation 3. Once we go like that, we get k plus, that I think it will be r, that is k plus r whole square minus n square into ar plus ar minus 2 equals to 0, and it should be not 1, it should be r. Then it is ar equals to, once you solve this one for ar, first you bring this one on the other side, it becomes minus ar minus 2, and this becomes k plus r whole square minus n square. That's what I'm saying. It is not k plus 1, it is k plus r whole square minus n square plus ar plus ar minus 2 equal to 0. If we solve this one for ar, we are going to get this one. Here, r is greater than or equal to 2. It is not r is greater than or equal to 0. It is r is greater than or equal to 2. And let us take this one as equation 4. Now, since we know that a1 is already 0, that we already claimed that a1 equal to 0. Now, let us concentrate on A3 first. Here, let us take R equal to 3 here. What do you get? If you take R equal to 3, and here what you find? If you take R equal to 3, here you will find A1. But A1 is what? 0. That means A3 becomes 0. If you want A5, if you take A5 here, if you take R equal to 5, here you will get A3. But already we got A3 as 0. That results in A5 as 0. Like that, we are going to find some things like because of A1 equal to 0, we find A3 equal to 0, A5 equal to 0, A7 equal to 0, and so on we get. Now let us take that one as equation 4, that a recurrence equation we can say. Now first let us take r equal to 4 now, sorry 2 now in equation 4. When we take r equal to 2 here, we find minus a naught, and it is k plus 2 whole square minus n square, that we got here. Now once you take r equal to 4 here, if you take r equal to 4, it will be minus a2, that is here. If you take r equal to 4, that is k plus 4 whole square minus n square. But anyhow, we know the value of a2 from the previous step. If you substitute the value of a2 from the previous step, this minus of minus becomes plus. In the numerator, we get a naught. In the denominator, we get a k plus 2 whole square minus n square into k plus 4 whole square minus n square. Okay, this is the value of a4 we are going to get. Like that, it will go on continue. Now, as we already discussed that finding the series solution means we have to identify the constants in the assumed solution and we have to substitute them in the expanded form of the assumed solution. In this case, our assumed solution is as it is given by equation 2, that is summation ar x raised to k plus r varies from 0 to infinity. That can be written as, that is this one can be written as, if you take x raised to k as your common term, constant with respect to r as outside, and for the remaining, if you go and take r equal to 0, 1, 2, we get x raised to k. Here I have written that x raised to k. Once you go and take r equal to 0, 1, 2, we get a naught plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube plus a raised to 4 x raised to 4, and so on. Now this x raised to k we kept as it is, a naught we kept as it is minus. Now the value of a1 is 0, 0 into something, that is 0, ignore that. Now coming to this, you have to write the value of a2, and a2 is given by this, that is minus a naught into k plus 2 whole square minus n square into x square, that we have written as it is. Again a3 is 0, as we already proved here, that is a3 into, that is 0 is 0, and next one is a4, that is a4 is given by a naught into, that is k plus 2 whole square minus n square into k plus 4 whole square minus n square, and into x raised to 4, and so on. Now from each of these terms we can take a naught as our common term, then we get x raised to k into, that is a naught is taken out, that is 1, and when we take a naught outside, it becomes x square divided by k plus 2 whole square minus n square, plus a naught is taken out, x raised to 4 divided by k plus 2 whole square minus n square into k plus 4 whole square minus n square, and so on. Now let us take this one as equation 5, and equation 5 represents the required series solution of the given equation. And now this is just a series solution, but now we have to write the complete solution. Okay, and the complete solution according to the Frobenius method is given by, that is y equals to some arbitrary constant capital A into the value of y when k equal to k1 plus capital B, some arbitrary constant, into the value of y at k equal to k2. And now this is the value of y. In this y, we have to take once k equal to k1, but we know that our k1 is n and k2 is minus n. First, let us take y1 as the value of y at k equal to k1, and the k1 value is n, that we already denoted here. K1 value is n. Now wherever k is there in equation 5, if you take n, now let us see what we get now. Here it is a naught, that we have written as it is. In the place of k, we can write n. Okay, sorry, that becomes actually it is x raised to, sorry, k raised to n or x raised to n. It is x raised to n. Okay, now it is x raised to n. Then it is 1 as it is, this x square as it is. In the place of k, if you take n, it becomes n plus 2 whole square minus n square, plus this x raised to 4 we have written as it is. Now k plus 2 whole square minus n square becomes, k equal to n is n plus 2 whole square minus n square into n plus 4 whole square minus n square, and so on. Now, if you simplify, this becomes a naught into x raised to n. Okay, once you go for a simplification of this one, this becomes n square plus 4 plus 4n. N square will get cancels. If you take 4 as your common term, that becomes n plus 1. And again, if you square this, n square will get cancels, that becomes 4n plus 4. 4 is taken common, you'll get n plus 1. In this case, once you square this, n square will get cancels, that becomes 8n plus 16. If you take 8 common, it gives you n plus 2. Now, it seems to be very difficult to remember this one in general. That's why by taking some particular value for a naught, we can put this y1 in the standard form. In order to put this one in the standard form, we will choose a naught as 1 upon 2 raised to n into gamma n plus 1. If you choose a naught equal to 1 upon 2 raised to n into gamma n plus 1 in the above equation, we get x raised to n as it is. A naught is 1 upon 2 raised to n into gamma n plus 1. This 1 as it is. Now see here, this is x square by 4. X square by 4 can be written as x by 2 whole square, and this n plus 1 as it is. Then plus, and see here, it is 4 into 8. Actually, it is 32. 32 can be written as 16 into 2. That 2 I have written here. 16 can be combined with this x raised to 4 as x by 2 raised to 4. And remaining is n plus 2 into n plus 1, and so on. Now this x raised to n upon 2 raised to n can be written as x by 2 whole raised to n. And if you go on take this 1 upon gamma n plus 1 inside the bracket, that is 1 into 1 upon gamma n plus 1 is 1 upon gamma n plus 1 plus x by 2 whole square you are written as it is. Then it is n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1. Then this 1 by 2 as it is. Then this is x by 2 raised to 4 as it is. Now this is n plus 2 I have written as it is, n plus 1 as it is. Then if you multiply with this term, that becomes gamma n plus 1. And from the first semester, when we discussed some of the relations of gamma function, we identified one recurrence relation as n gamma n plus 1 is n into gamma n, or we can remember it as n into gamma n equal to gamma n plus 1. And now we are going to apply this result for these cases. Then this x by 2 raised to n we kept as it is. Then this is 1 upon gamma n plus 1 as it is, minus x by 2 raised to 2 that we have written here as it is. Now this one is of this form. Just in the place of n we are having n plus 1, and when we are having n here, for that n we have to add 1 inside the gamma, but in the here it is n plus 1. Once we apply this rule for this one, that becomes gamma n plus 2. And nothing means 1 is there, 1 can be done as 1 factorial. Now here 2 is there, that can be done as 2 factorial. Then this is x by 2 raised to 4. And it is now see, once we apply this one, gamma n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1 is gamma n plus 2. And again, once we apply n plus 2 into gamma n plus 2, that becomes gamma n plus 3, and so on. Here we have applied revise this result. Then this becomes x by 2. Once you look at these things, these results can be put in the form of summation like this. That is summation r varies from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to r divided by r factorial into gamma of n plus r plus 1 into x by 2 raised to 2r. Now any of you have written this one, let us see. By taking r equal to 0, 1, 2 and so on, we get the above result or not. Once you take r equal to 0, what we get? Minus 1 raised to 0 is 1. 0 factorial is 1. If you take r equal to 0, it gives you gamma n plus 1. And once you take r equal to 0, anything raised to 0 is 1. Therefore, numerator is 1, denominator is gamma n plus rv5. Sorry, gamma n plus 1, because you have taken r equal to 0. Next, if you take r equal to 1, that is minus 1 raised to 1 is minus. If you take r equal to 1 here, that becomes x by 2 raised to 2, that is here. If you take r equal to 1, this is 1 factorial. If you take r equal to 1, 1 plus 1, that is gamma n plus 2e5. Now one more, if you take r equal to 2, that is minus 1 raised to 2 is plus, that is 1 will get. Then if you take r equal to 2, it becomes 2 factorial. If you take r equal to 2, it becomes gamma n plus 3. And if you take r equal to 2, 2 into 2, 4, that becomes x by 2 raised to 4. That means the above expanded form can be put in the simplest form of a summation like this. That is summation r varies from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to r divided by r factorial into gamma n plus r plus 1 into x by 2 raised to 2r. And again, if I take this x by 2, which is free from r inside the summation, and we find that base is same, we can add the powers. If we add the powers, we can write it as y1 equal to summation r varies from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to r factorial divided by gamma n plus r plus 1 into x by 2 raised to n plus 2r, because base is same, we can add the powers. And this y1, or an expression given for y1 according to this, is denoted by jnx, and this jnx is called as Bessel's function of Bessel's function we can call it of order n, we can call it as Bessel's function of order n. Bessel's function of first kind of order n we can write. Now y2, okay, again it is nothing but the value of y at k equal to k2. In this case, k2 value is minus n, and that can be obtained just to replace n by minus n in the above expression. If I write that as y2 equal to, wherever n is there, if I replace that n by minus n, we can find it as minus 1 raised to r divided by r factorial, and it is minus n plus r plus 1 into x by 2 raised to minus n plus 2r, and that is denoted as j minus nx. Now this y1 and y2 or jnx and j minus nx are two independent solutions of Bessel's differential equation, and their complete solution is given by according to Roman equation number 1, that is Roman number 1, that is capital A into y at k equal to k1 plus b into y at k equal to k2. If you recall that the value of y at k equal to k1, that is n, and if you take the value of y at k equal to k2, that is minus n, this one we are denoted by y1, okay, that is here, this is denoted by y1, and one more is denoted as y2. Therefore, if you substitute the respective values of y1 and y2 as jnx and j minus nx, we get this one as the required complete solution for the Bessel's differential equation in terms of Bessel's function. In terms of Bessel's function, I called it as Legendre's. Therefore, y equal to capital A into jnx plus capital B into j minus nx, and this will be the required series solution of Bessel's differential equation leading to Bessel's function. That will be the required series solution. Now there is a small associated part of that. Now some equations which are not in the standard Bessel's form, they can be reduced to the standard Bessel's differential equation using some proper substitution. And now first let us know what kind of equations can be reduced to the Bessel's differential equation. Now the differential equation of the type x square into d square by dx square plus x into dy by dx plus lambda square x square minus n square into y equals to 0. Let us take it as 1, can be reducible to the standard Bessel's form. Now in the standard Bessel's form, lambda square is not there. Even though if the coefficient of coefficient of x square, we get it as lambda square, they can be reduced to the standard Bessel's equation as follows. Just you have to take the proper substitution. Now here I'm going to take the substitution, that is lambda x equal to t I'm going to take. Accordingly, we find x equal to t by lambda I'll find. And if I differentiate this t with respect to x, we are going to get it as lambda. Now, according to the chain rule, we can write dy by dx as dy by dt into dt by dx. Dy by dt as it is, but dt by dx is lambda. That we can write. That's why we find that the value of dy by dx as lambda into dy by dt. That will be the first thing we find. In the similar fashion, we have to find the value of d square over dx square also. Now, d square over dx square, that is second derivative, can be written as derivative of the first derivative. And again, this one, according to the chain rule, we can write it as d by dt, and this dy by dx as it is, then this is dt by dx we can write. Then this d by dt we have written as it is, dy by dx, we already know its value is lambda into dy by dt, and dt by dx, again it is lambda. Lambda into lambda gives you lambda square, and derivative of the first derivative is going to be second derivative. In this case, it is with respect to t. That's why we can write it as d square I by dt square. Therefore, we find finally d square I by dx square equal to lambda square into d square I by dt square. Now let us substitute these values in equation 1. We get, now equation 1 has, this is x square. But what is our x? That is t by lambda. X square means t square by lambda square. And now it is d square by dx square. That is lambda square into d square by dt square. That is plus. then it is x. Again, x is nothing but our t by lambda. And once you substitute the value of dy by dx, that is lambda into dy by dt, we get this one plus. Then this lambda x you have taken t, that becomes t square minus n square into y equals to 0. Now once you cancel this lambda square lambda, and finally we get that is t square into d square by dt square plus t into dy by dt plus t square minus h square into y equal to 0, which is the Bessel's equation, the standard form, with t as the independent variable. Earlier, what we have discussed, or what we called in equation 1, this is the Bessel's differential equation with x as the independent variable. But here, when we reduce that one to the standard Bessel's form, we are going to get a Bessel's differential equation with t as the independent variable. Now, and its solution is given by, once the differential equation where x is the independent variable in the Bessel's differential equation, its series solution is written as y equal to a into j n x plus b into j minus x. Sorry, j minus nx, but there x is the independent, but here t is the independent. That's why we can write y equal to a into j n t plus b into j minus n t, and y equal to a as it is, but our t is lambda x. Therefore, y equal to a into j n lambda x plus b into j minus n lambda x, because you have taken t equal to lambda x. Here, j n lambda x and j minus n lambda x are two independent solutions of this equation 1, we can call. This is the way we can reduce the given equation to the standard Bessel's equation, and how we can write its general or complete solution. Thank you.